Jennifer Lopez getting dragged into the Diddy trial of it all? We gotta talk about this one. So it says here that Jennifer Lopez faces allegedly being dragged into ex-Sean Diddy Combs' high-profile trial as prosecutors seek to use evidence from the infamous 1999 nightclub.
We know what happened, and we hope, that it all turns out the way it's supposed to.
You had to be disturbed by a report in the New York paper yesterday.
Yeah.
It said an eyewitness along 8th Avenue as your car drove by saw a female hand throwing a gun out of the car.
Ridiculous. I don't even
You're the only female
it.
in the car. You don't want to talk about
Ridiculous.
it? You very confident that Puffy will be found innocent in this trial?
Yes, I will.
You're going to testify?
If they need me.
But you haven't been asked
I
yet.
haven't been asked yet. So. But at first, I didn't like him at all. I didn't. I thought he was like, ick. I didn't like him because, Sean and I were very different that way. I was very, family-oriented and kind of the married type. I was actually, when we first worked together in the video, I was married, even though I was going through problems. Nobody knew that, you know what I mean? And I wanted my family, and even though at that time it was not going well, you know what I mean? That was who I was. That's how I was raised.
Jennifer Lopez just found herself in another drama, this time tied with one of the most controversial names right now, Sean Diddy Combs. And by the looks of it, JLo ain't going to any tour anytime soon. This was after rumors started suggesting that she might be getting in real trouble with the authorities because of her previous and current ties with Puff. From the 1999 shooting incident, sudden divorce, to the radio silence, Jennifer is getting scrutinized like there's tomorrow, and now even, it seems like even the feds are getting involved. In case you want to know more, buckle up because we are going to take a pretty deep dive about this mysterious connection before JLo and Diddy and why this might hunt Jennifer and bite her from the back. Let's get started. It's been over 2 decades since that infamous 1999 club shooting shook the world, but now everything is coming back to the surface. The victim? A young woman named Natanya Rubin. And for the first time, she's sharing her story in full, and what she's saying might just blow this case wide open again.
I was a victim of a shooting that night in the club, December 27th, 1999, shot in the face by Sean Puffy Combs.
So with that being said, right, if you don't mind, can you give me a play-by-play of everything that took place when you got shot by Diddy at the nightclub?
It was a very cold day, so when we got to the front of the club, there were lots of people outside. And anyone who's familiar with the club scene knows, especially a club that's considered popping, they're always going to leave some degree of a line outside so that the additional people who arrive think, oh, wow, look at all these people. It must really be jumping. It's just a whole marketing thing for the nightclub scene. It's what they do.
Back then, Natanya was just 19 years old, standing near the entrance of Club New York just trying to enjoy a night out. But in the blink of an eye, chaos erupted. What started as male bravado, shoving, yelling, posturing, turned into something deadly. She says she saw it all. Diddy reaching for a weapon, gunfire erupting, and then, bam! A bullet hit her directly in the face. And the most chilling part? Natanya says she saw the whole thing with her own eyes. I watched them reach into their waist, she said. I turned around and told my friends to be careful. And when I turned back, I saw the muzzle flash, and I felt the impact. That bullet changed her life forever, and yet nobody was ever convicted for what happened to her. Diddy walked, Jennifer Lopez walked, and Shine, the young rapper from Bad Boy, took the fall. He spent nearly a decade in prison for it. Now here's where it gets even messier.
So there wasn't an instant forgiveness. I got out in 2009. There wasn't an attempt at reconciliation until 2012 when I went to Paris to meet him. And that was the first attempt at forgiveness, but I was still in a place of he owes me. He owes me his life. He owes me, he's a billionaire. If it wasn't for me, he wouldn't have been a billionaire. If I would have cooperated with the district attorney, he'd have went to jail, and heaven knows what would have happened to his career, right? So, that's worth at least a couple $1 million out of the $1 billion that you're worth.
Back then, Diddy and JLo were the hottest couple in Hollywood, red carpet royalty. But that club incident exposed cracks in the facade. They fled the scene together that night, but JLo was quick to separate herself. According to court records, when police pulled over Diddy's SUV, JLo allegedly tried to walk away, saying, "It's not my gun." but a gun was found in the vehicle and everybody was arrested. Still, she was released shortly after.
Let me change subjects and ask you about some awkward timing. You're out promoting this movie, and I know you want it to do well. It's your first romantic comedy. It occurs at the same time when Puffy's on trial on gun charges. Did you give any thought to not doing the publicity for this movie? Because you know that people like me have to ask you about this.
Yeah, no, I just, leave it in God's hands. The projects were ready at this time, and as far as that whole situation, we know what happened, and we hope, that it all turns out the way it's supposed to.
You had to be disturbed by a report in the New York paper yesterday.
Yeah.
It said an eyewitness along 8th Avenue as your car drove by saw a female hand throwing a gun out of the car.
Ridiculous. I don't even
You're the
wanna
only
address
female
it.
in the car. You don't want to talk about
Ridiculous.
Diddy stayed locked up. Shine stayed locked up longer. JLo went back to making hits and films. Diddy, well, we all know what came next until now, because now the FBI is digging into Diddy's past. And guess what? That 1999 shooting is back under the microscope. Even Jaguar Wright came out saying it. Diddy and JLo are both allegedly under investigation again for what happened that night. There are whispers JLo helped cover it all up, and if what insiders are saying is true, she may have even helped hide the weapon. But get this.
JLo has said nothing. Nothing. You really thought that just running off and marrying Ben Affleck was gonna take you out of the Diddy downfall? But it saved her the first time though, didn't it? Because as soon as that club was over and as soon as they finished interrogating her, when she sat there and cried like a baby, I don't want to go to jail, I don't want to go to jail, Benny Medina put her with that drunk white boy until she ran him off. Like, there are people sitting here screaming out at the toll that the atrocities that Sean Combs has done to their lives, and you're trying to avoid your part in the story or the fact that you never spoke up. You want to tell people on the low and put it out there that the movie was enough, was about you getting away from Puffy, but you didn't think about the trail of girls that you left behind.
It seems like another person just entered the picture. I am talking about none other than JLo's ex-husband, Ben Affleck. If you've been following these two, you'll know how messy their relationship was. And by the looks of it, the controversy involving them is not ending anytime soon. And this time, it seems like Ben is dragged into the Diddy mess without his permission. While their separation doesn't seem to have any relation with this mess with Puff, fans are now saying that there might be some sort of connection. Some are even saying that Ben was trying to run away before the feds get JLo and lock her up because of her involvement with Puff's nasty doings. So remember back when people were whispering that Ben Affleck was the one reaching out to JLo? That dirty secret story? The one where a source claimed Ben's actually the diva, calling the paparazzi and manipulating women? Well, fast forward, and things have taken a turn. According to multiple insiders, Ben and JLo are barely even talking now. One source told Us Weekly that the two are not in contact very often and only kept things cordial during the divorce process for the sake of their blended family. And while they can call or text at any time, that old connection, it's fading fast. Apparently, the Bennifer 2.0 romance that had the world in a chokehold was never Ben's vibe in the first place. He hated the attention. He didn't like the media circus, didn't like the name, and didn't want the spotlight. Now that it's over, he feels relief. One insider even said, Ben doesn't feel as exposed now, and he likes that. So just imagine if they were still together when the Diddy case exploded, right? It would have been a nightmare for Ben. Meanwhile, the Daily Mail added another layer. Both Ben and JLo are sad the marriage didn't work out, but instead of crying over it, they've thrown themselves into work. Movies, awards, anything to keep the headlines moving. And what about Jennifer Garner? Don't worry, she's not playing a backup dancer in this drama. Sources say she and Ben have gotten closer, occasionally hanging out solo, but it's all platonic. No love triangle here, just a lot of feelings and even more distance. Or maybe this is another attempt of a celeb trying to disassociate with Diddy as much as they can. Well, no one really knows. But Jaguar had a lot to say about the matter, like, just classic Jaguar if you ask me.
JLo is just, I don't know. Every man she's been with has said the same thing, except for Diddy. Diddy's the only one that said she was a great girlfriend and how he wish he hadn't messed it up. How is that the only man in her life that had regrets about their relationship, but everybody else ran for the hills? Like, it's not nobody noticing that. That everybody else that's left her, oh, she was too this, she was this, she was that. But Diddy said she was perfect.
Maybe she was meant for a man.
What happens if you're only perfect for the devil?
This is the news that's been bubbling beneath the surface for months. The Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck divorce was expected by many, but the timing, it's sending a clear message. Just as legal heat intensifies around Sean Diddy Combs, Lopez suddenly files for divorce on their anniversary, no less, and without an attorney. That's not just paperwork. That's a calculated move. Behind the glamorous image of JLo and the heartthrob Hollywood narrative lies a mess that's starting to unravel. At the center of the storm is Jaguar Wright, R&B singer turned truth-teller, who's once again pointing fingers at the industry's elite. And this time, the focus isn't just on Diddy. It's on Jennifer Lopez herself. Jaguar didn't mince words. In her own blunt way, she stated that Jennifer Lopez wasn't just a bystander in Diddy's madness. According to Jaguar Wright, Jennifer Lopez participated in the very same freak-off parties that are now under federal investigation. These weren't just celebrity gatherings. These were events allegedly filled with drugs, trafficking, secret recordings, and exploitation. Wright claims Lopez was right there at the center of it all, enjoying the lifestyle, turning a blind eye, or worse, playing an active role in it.
When we talked last time on the virtual, you mentioned who's on tapes and who got tapes out.
Yeah.
The purpose of having a recorded freak off.
Yeah.
What does that do for the male? What does that do for the female? Like, some females are cool with it. What is the thought behind that as far as, let's record this session and either rewatch, keep it for sale? Is it evidence? Is it just, like, what is the mentality behind having
If you can
the
own
visual
someone's
memory of it?
sexuality, their vulnerability, if you can own that, you have the ability to control and manipulate that person.
The same parties Diddy is now being investigated for hosting, and while Lopez has never faced charges, the silence from her camp has been deafening. Back in 1999, JLo and Diddy were arrested after a nightclub shooting in New York. Gun found in the car. Gunpowder residue allegedly on Jennifer Lopez's hands, held for 14 hours, released with no charges. At the time, her team spun it as a misunderstanding, but Jaguar Wright isn't buying the Innocence Act. According to her, that arrest was just the tip of the iceberg. Jaguar pointed out the shift in JLo's public image, how quickly the pop star went from Jenny from the block to marrying a clean-cut Oscar winner. Suddenly, the narrative changed. No more hip-hop drama, no more Diddy, just red carpets, movies, and a rebrand into America's sweetheart. But now, that image is cracking. Jaguar Wright raised a deeper question. Was Ben Affleck just part of Jennifer Lopez's damage control strategy? A clean face to help wash away the mess of the past. As Jaguar sees it, Affleck became the shield, the distraction. And now that the distraction is no longer needed, he's being discarded. As federal investigations close in on Diddy, the past is catching up. Claims of secret recordings, coercion, and celebrity blackmail are no longer whispers. They're front-page headlines. And Jennifer Lopez's name keeps surfacing, not through official channels, but through insiders like Jaguar Wright, who claim to know what really happened behind closed doors. One of the most explosive claims involves the night of the club shooting. Jaguar says JLo wasn't just in the car, she allegedly had the weapon. If that's true, it changes everything. No longer an innocent caught in the chaos, but potentially an accomplice in a crime that nearly turned deadly. Jaguar Wright also criticized Jennifer Lopez for never speaking out, never supporting the victims, never acknowledging the damage. Just silence, rebrands, and new storylines. And now, with Diddy on the edge of indictment, Jennifer Lopez's past is back in the spotlight. Public opinion is shifting fast. The idea of Jennifer Lopez as a calculated figure, not a victim, is gaining traction. Not just because of Jaguar Wright's statements, but because of the timing, the silence, and the moves being made in plain sight. This is more than gossip. This is about legacy, control, and the lengths celebrities go to protect an empire. And in this case, the empire might be built on secrets that are no longer staying buried. The spotlight is back, and it's not moving anytime soon. And y'all, it gets darker. According to Shine himself, he was defending Diddy that night. That's what he believed. But years later, Shine revealed that Diddy didn't return the favor. In fact, Shine says Diddy turned around and testified against him, bringing in witnesses to seal his fate while he walked away untouched. So now the question becomes, who really fired that gun? And did JLo lie to protect the man she loved? But get this, it seems like JLo's connection to Diddy is not only limited to that fateful night. Because now, Jennifer's ex-husband mentioned how the singer was present during Diddy's infamous freak-offs. In case you missed it, Ojani hit Instagram with a scorcher of a post, basically saying, "Don't ask me about Diddy's wild parties, ask my ex-wife Jennifer Lopez." Now those are very serious allegations if you ask me. Most fans pointed out how he made it real clear. He never stepped foot inside Diddy's freak-offs, but JLo, according to him, that's a whole different story. He literally posted, "I'm not on the list, no and no, never. But my ex-wife, Jennifer Lopez, aka JLo, did, ask her." Y'all, he even tagged her and everything. This ain't no subtle shade, this is full-on fire. And just when you thought it couldn't get any wilder, he threw in some jaw-dropping allegations. He told folks to ask her about the sex tapes, the 734 dildos, and the baby oil. Like, what? That's not even a paragraph, that's an expose. The way he said it, it's like he's daring someone to dig into it. Now, you have to remember again, JLo was pretty much Diddy's main girl back then. So it's no surprise that people around the then couple started wondering if Jennifer ever witnessed something remotely similar to what Cassie witnessed. And now that JLo's former husband decided to spill the tea about her and her alleged presence during these parties, everyone online completely lost it. Because if proven true, then there's a high chance we'll be seeing JLo in court. And Ojani? He's making it crystal clear that he wants no part in any of it. But at the same time, he's pointing the finger directly at JLo like, don't play innocent now. It's giving petty with a purpose. But let's not forget, Ojani's always had a bone to pick with both JLo and Diddy. He says his marriage to JLo crumbled the moment Diddy entered the picture. According to him, she went from Jen the rising star to JLo the $1 million brand. And once that happened, he was out, pushed aside, replaced by Puffy. She had all these new people around her, Ojani told Daily Mail, all wanting to make money off her. I would call and an assistant would say, "Sorry, she's not available." And now, he's out here throwing gasoline on the fire just as Diddy's entire empire is collapsing. It's not just messy, it's surgical. He knows exactly when to say it and how to say it to stir up headlines, and clearly it's working. Now, JLo hasn't said a word yet. No comment, no statement, no denial. But with Diddy's case heating up and federal agents reportedly finding explicit tapes and evidence from those parties, her silence is getting louder by the second. Is this just a bitter ex lashing out, or is JLo really hiding something from her past that could tie her to this whole scandal? One thing's for sure, Ojani Noah isn't done talking. And now that Diddy's secrets are spilling into the open, it's only a matter of time before Jennifer Lopez might have to answer for what really went down behind those freak-off doors. But wait, there's more. Enter Elon Musk. Yup. Elon's name got dragged into this mess when he recently commented on a tweet about Diddy's alleged abuse of a child. On an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Elon went all in defending Donald Trump. However, fans were more curious about what he said about Jennifer because no one was expecting him to suddenly mention the singer out of nowhere. In case you missed the episode, he called out JLo for staying silent on Diddy while being vocal about Trump. And baby, the internet is still trying to catch its breath. According to Elon, Jennifer Lopez had no business criticizing Trump at a Kamala Harris rally last month when she hadn't even addressed the one name her past is permanently tied to, Diddy. He went on and pointed out how JLo used to be in a relationship with Diddy, implying that there's no way she was innocent if Diddy indeed was proven guilty. But Elon didn't stop there. He went on and mentioned how JLo seemingly has a double standard for forgetting to call out Diddy, like it was her job to warn people about him. Elon then went on to drag the entire entertainment industry, calling them out for enabling Diddy for years. People in the music industry had to know that Diddy was, like, abusing kids, basically, when they still fed him kids. Where's the accountability? That's a loaded statement coming from one of the most powerful tech moguls in the world, and it's got everyone talking. Now let's be real, JLo has been dodging Diddy questions like a pro ever since the federal investigation began. And now, Suge Knight is chiming in. The former Death Row Records head, currently behind bars, claimed Homeland Security might have shown Ben Affleck some of the footage they recovered from Diddy's stash. And if Suge's theory is right, Ben saw the tapes, saw JLo's name or face on them, and that's why he wanted out of the marriage. Suge said, "That's a white man who got respect in the white world. He had a good life, good parents, don't spend crazy, wasn't tripping on fame. She brought all that extra mess in. And now, he want out." Meanwhile, she was making headlines calling out Trump over a racist joke at Madison Square Garden, saying, "It wasn't just Puerto Ricans who were offended, it was every Latino in this country. It was humanity." A powerful statement, yes. But Elon's point is landing hard. Why so loud about Trump and so quiet about Diddy? Especially when federal agents reportedly found hundreds of tapes from Diddy's parties. If JLo was present, if her image or name is anywhere near those files, that silence becomes deafening. And let's not forget, Jennifer Lopez hasn't been charged with anything. But the people around her keep talking. And now, Elon Musk just turned that whisper into a scream. The question now isn't just, where does JLo stand politically, but what does she really know about the man she once loved? And what is she hiding? However, while Elon might seem to have a point, fans also mentioned that he was also connected with Diddy before. So if JLo knew something, he might as well have seen a couple of things, right? Because as you guys know, Elon and Diddy go way back. Diddy allegedly invested $10 million into Elon's Twitter buyout. Elon himself bragged about texting Diddy and calling him a good friend. That includes Ellen DeGeneres, by the way. Because in another tweet, Elon randomly joked about Ellen disappearing from Hollywood, right when people started speculating that she might also be involved in some of Diddy's elite Hollywood circles. Coincidence? Or is Elon hinting at something bigger? And speaking of people who went quiet, JLo's been almost too silent lately. Despite everything happening, despite Diddy being locked up, despite the lawsuits flying, JLo hasn't said a word. She's kept her head down, stayed away from the drama. But why? Well, some say she's afraid the truth is finally going to catch up. See, there's a theory going around that Diddy and JLo may have secretly gotten married back then. Why? Because if they were legally married, she couldn't be forced to testify against him in court. That would explain a lot. Like why she stayed so loyal. Why did she keep her mouth shut? And why, when the bullets flew and Shine went down, she didn't say a word in court. And now Natanya Rubin is saying what nobody had the courage to say back then. Diddy did it. She's not backing down. She's not stuttering. She says she watched the man fire a weapon and saw the muzzle flash hit her face. She says Diddy and Shine both pulled guns. And y'all, that woman has no reason to lie. She's not chasing fame. She's not looking for clout. She said, "Bullets don't have names. They don't ask who you are. They just hit." And she just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Meanwhile, NBC made money off of her pain. Yep, one of their Law & Order episodes was based on this exact case. That episode ended the same way the real case did. The male rapper took the fall, and the starlet? She disappeared before she could testify. Sound familiar? And let's not forget the balcony story. Cassie's friend Brianna Bongalan said that Diddy literally held her over a 17th floor balcony. That testimony was objected to in court due to pending civil cases, but prosecutors found another way in: text messages. They got text receipts from Diddy's assistant apologizing to Cassie and offering compensation for what happened. They admitted it happened, in writing, but the defense tried to paint Brianna as a drug user and someone who wanted to party with Puff. Still, the jury saw the messages. They saw the truth. And this is what victims deal with. They speak out, and the machine tries to bury them. But Natanya is still standing. Cassie is still standing. And now the past is catching up. So what happens next? Will the case finally be reopened? Will Jennifer Lopez be forced to testify under oath? Will the feds dig deeper into that night at Club New York? One thing's for sure, the walls are closing in, and nobody's name is too big to be exposed. Let us know what y'all think. Is JLo in deep trouble? Did Diddy really let Shine take the fall to protect himself and his girl? And is Elon trying to tip off the world without saying too much? This is bigger than hip-hop. This is a Hollywood scandal decades in the making, and the truth is finally clawing its way to the surface. We'll keep you posted. Stay tuned.